because one-man bands have a tendency to get out of control. They get too much stuff. There's a case in point on the Lonesome Pine special that you saw part of the one-man band thing there. On YouTube.
Yeah.
They called me when they were getting that together in '91, and they said that the guy, what inspired it is the producer used to see Sergeant Pepperoni, one-man band, in Boston on the streets back in the, I guess, early '70s when he was in college. And anyhow, he got up to over 100 pounds worth of equipment on his back, walking around and stuff like that. You know, and it quickly wears you out. And it also, you know, with airline restrictions, makes it hard to transport your stuff to do any. So a lot of one-man band types are homebound. I mean, they can barely go move around their own hometown without using a truck.
Well, when I know at one point you had decided that you were going to add a new instrument every year, then when you decided you couldn't go any further, did you have to remove anything? Or
no, they're actually actually that was kind of a promotional. I guess you call that a lost leader or something like that. You know, because in reality, somebody said, "How many instruments you got there?" And I counted them, and I even counted things like jingle bells, you know, and I had 29 or something like that, and that's how old I was. 27, I think. And that's how my age. And that's it. I'll add a new one every year on my birthday, and I made a big deal out of it. Of course, nobody has the tenacity to sit there and count, you know. But it's quantity that, you know. Everybody wants quantity, you know, not quality. You can't quantify quality, but in reality, the lure of a one-man band is quantity. However, quality is my motto.
Well, I think these are
instruments these are the instruments that worked. They're little things that went on, and I could not get to them, or they would break, or they were only good for one thing, and you know, it wasn't worth the effort to put it together. So this is kind of a micro one-man band.
So how many total instruments do you count at this point as part of your band?
You're trying to quantify it again.
Well, that's what newspapers like.
You know what? I don't really know.
They like data.
So. You can be the first guy to count.
I still do. Well, I'll tell you.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a darn.
I'll tell you what. We can just go through each of them, and by de facto.
Well, what we're starting with here is this is my bass drum.
Okay.
Okay. Now the bass drum is actually a snare drum off of an old Wurlitzer Nickelodeon. I got this in an antique store in Chicago when I passed through there, and it's single tension, a snare, which is unheard of on a snare drum. Usually, you know, it's tension on both sides, but this thing is set up like a bass drum, and it's 15 inches instead of the standard 14. But this was in an old Nickelodeon because it had the Wurlitzer nameplate. And I've seen Nickelodeon, you know, we're talking about an orchestrion or you know, a mechanical organ, mechanical one-man band. Anyhow, so probably circa turn of the century, something like that, maybe up to the 20s. And I put a double thickness head on it to give it a good low sound. You mic it right here, which I do on stage performances. It sounds like a real bass drum. It's very big. Rock drummers have said, "Oh, I wish I could get my bass drum to sound like that."
I notice a very healthy patina on all your equipment.
Yes.
Have you?
I did the lettering myself.
Have you been caught in the rain a lot?
Yeah. Well, I lived in New Orleans for 7 years, and I used to play in the Midwest a lot, so I would get rained on. As a matter of fact, I got rained on last year at the Solano Stroll, and you can probably, there's probably some mold because I just threw it in the case real quickly and stuck it down in my garage, and it hasn't had chance to air out last year. That was the last time I performed. I'm sorry, I had a performance about 3 months ago for the people at Pixar. They had the release party for the people who made the film Toy Story 3, and I performed at that private function, which was, you know, a few hundred employees at Pixar. And I had actually, that's like the third time I performed for Pixar. Another time, it was the premiere of their release party for a short called One Man Band. I was going to be a consultant for it, but apparently they didn't need one. And you know, and again, it's not, doesn't paint a very good light of one-man bands. It's a battle of two one-man bands, and they're all fighting over one coin from a kid. You know, and the kid ends up playing the one-man band as good as the rest of them. You know.
Have you done?
Like, not true. Kids, you can't do this.
Have you ever done a musical playoff against another one-man band? I played along with. There was a one-man band who was one of my inspirations, named Kokomo Joe, and that's the name he went by, in New Orleans. And African-American street performer who was playing on the streets, at least during the Depression, maybe even earlier, and very musical. He's one of the first guys I've seen that had the just like a popcorn tin, you know, and a crate, you know, that uses the bass drum and stuff like that. It was all found objects, and but very rhythmic, and a kazoo, and to play with drumsticks. And anyhow, we both went to Milan, Italy. We both went to Milan, Italy, and along with Mr. Spoons from Cincinnati, my hometown. Okay.
And he won first place. Mr. Spoons won second place, and I won third place at a street performers festival in Milan, Italy, in 1988. And it was like $9,000 was first prize, 6 was second, and I got $3,000. And it was like a million lira, you know. It was like
it sounds good, doesn't it?
1 million lira. And anyhow, I heard from him that through a friend of mine in New Orleans that how he spent his money. He gambled it away playing craps on the streets in New Orleans, and you know, he was almost a homeless kind of guy, you know. But he died, you know, and he died shortly afterwards. So, you know, he died happy, I guess.
Do you know, when did you first start the Stroll performances?
Doing the Stroll?
Yeah.
That must have been
1990, maybe?
Not that soon. I lived in El Cerrito. Must have been like 2000 or something like that. Yeah, I think about 2000. About 10 of them.
So let me ask I don't know if this is a crass question or not, but do you do this for the pure joy of it, or do you do it because you like the money?
Oh, well, I mean, you know, what money? But the Solano Stroll is good money, so this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm not doing it on the streets in San Francisco anymore, because money's no good. You know, I mean, today I'm just gonna do it to see if I can do it, because I mean, although I was booked for it and all that, I got about 4 hours of sleep last night. I just moved to Pinole from San Francisco. Now, why is that lower than it used to be?
Maybe you've gotten taller.
No, I don't know what's going on here. It's really weird.
It's probably my distraction. You put it together wrong.
For some reason, this is like a half an inch shorter than, shorter. and everything else is normal. Yeah, this is getting what's going on. Alright, I gotta move this guy up.
What? We're going to Subway.
So, well, I see why you kind of double in appliance repair. It's a kind of a natural, isn't it?
Well, man, no, it can't possibly be natural because, although, yeah, it is. I mean, you know, if I started my own business, it'd be a great name, you know. Forget my appliance. But in reality, my uncle wrote the song "That's Life," the words to it, and I have been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a faun. Oh, I know why it's so low. Because this drum goes here, and I totally forgot. The drum would get in the way of the drum if it had it that high.
Well, it sounds like you've gone through so many professions, but it doesn't sound like you've ever gone through an instrument repair shop.
Actually, yes, I did.
Too.
I worked at Subway Guitars, fixing, repairing electric guitars, and you know, I've been a jazz trombone player all my life, and you know, I'm not a big fan of rock and roll.
No.
Which is, I know, un-American, but anyhow, I was telling my friends that I was making guns for the enemy, you know, by fixing up these guitars. That's right here on, it used to be on, it's a famous old guitar shop. It used to be on, it's here in Berkeley.
Jesse Maddox.
There we go. That's more like it. You see, my batteries are. Nothing is electronically created.
What is battery powered here?
All I have is microphone.
Okay.
So nothing is electronic. Everything is blood, sweat, and tears. I provide the blood and sweat, and the audience.
God, look at that
tears.
thing. Can you kind of do a quick once over on those little guys there?
Just, you know. Anyhow, it all makes music once I get it going. Batteries.
What does the watch do? Is that just timing your performance?
Tells me what time it is, but the battery's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, so it ain't gonna do me no good whatsoever. That's the backside of it. This is all. See, this is top secret here. You can't.
Oh dear. Okay.
So let's see if this battery's good. It's all Radio Shack electronics here. As a matter of fact, I bet you I don't even have. Oh, what do you know? I didn't think the battery would be any good on the battery test. Yeah, I think that was 8.2 volt. 8.72, that's good enough. Alright. It's a 9-volt battery. I just need enough volts to get me through.
I'm sure the crowd will get a charge out of you no matter what.
Oh dear. Oh my God. You know, we shoot people who tell jokes like that in appliance repairman school.
Well, I don't
By the
think
way, people call me Professor Gizmo all the time.
Yes.
And I say, they call me Mr. Gizmo. And I say, Professor Gizmo, if you will. I didn't go to no 4 years of professor school, just be called Mr. Gizmo. Thank you very much.